Episode 1, 121045. The opening scene of the anime showcases our three main protagonists, Emma, Ray, and Norman. They're behind a set of bars, wondering what's on the other side of it. Right off the bat, this should be sending some red flags in your head. Like, I don't know about you, but just the image of children with their hands on the bars like prisoners, it just gives you an uneasy feeling. And this is no doubt intentional just to set the scene of the episode that something is not quite right. We also hear this rule.
Never go near the gator fence in the back of the forest because it's dangerous.
Don't go near the bars, it's dangerous. To which Ray replies,
She says that, but it's not true.
I'll delve more into this line later in the series, but for now, he seems right. I mean, they are right there, and all they see is a hallway with some Victorian-style lights. This also most likely implies that it's not the first time at least Ray has been near the gate, since that would explain why he says so definitively that there's no danger. If he's been here many times before and seen nothing out of the ordinary, why would there be anything to worry about? After this scene, we see the awesome OP touch-off, which I cannot go over right now since it foreshadows a lot of the plot, but I will say right now that I do love the music. Hats off to Otherworld for that. Emma wakes up and we immediately see that all the children have this identification number on their necks. But anyway, Emma's portrayed to be this big sister type figure, so we instantly know that all these kids all know each other, they're all pals, you know, so it's kind of cute. Then we get introduced to this adult that the kids all refer to as Mom, which is the only adult we've seen so far, and the only adult we will see for quite a while actually.
That isn't what I meant. I love how deeply you care about your family.
From this line, we can see from the get-go that she really admires family, love, and togetherness, which is an important part of her character. And we see that she's the one who takes care of all the children. With an ominous sound cue, we get a zoom in on the numbers on the necks of each of the children. But no one seems to mind that much, and other than this scene, not much attention has been brought to them. Next we see this sort of test where the kids have to select the right answers by scanning the right barcode. And even after watching this whole anime series, this was always weird to me. Why have barcodes to scan? Surely just having enough buttons for each answer is enough and less complicated. I tried to look up if this was a method that anyone used to do exams, but I couldn't find anything. So let me know in the comments why you think it was done this way. Oh, so what the hell are all these buttons and switches on the desk if all they have to do is scan the barcode? Is it to start the exam? So does Mum have to go to every desk and start each one manually? Surely that can't be it. But we never see them used. Anyways, that's not relevant to though. Even if it is some sort of admin access thing, why do they have it out of the open for the kids to use? At least have it behind some sort of panel so they don't accidentally press it and like blow up the system or some shit. Anyways, as I said, it's not really relevant to... Or even worse, they could use the admin access system to like rewrite the test scores. Like that's probably what Ray did, little kid, you little blackhead little fucking dumb. Norman, Ray, and Emma are revealed to have got perfect scores in the exam.
Norman, Ray, Emma. Perfect scores again. Fantastic! I'm so proud.
Yay!
Which is impressive since people were even impressed with someone who thought that they got more than half.
Well, I think I got at least half. That many? Wow! I'm jealous. I didn't get most of the questions.
So getting full scores must be another level of intellect, like light Yagami levels of intelligence. Also, a little side note, in the anime we don't get to see the questions in much detail because we just see like graphs and shapes and shit. But in the manga, we can see the types of questions that were asked, and they were just maths questions, but we don't get to see any other exams anywhere in the series, so it's unclear if they are ever tested on any other subjects other than maths. But I would have to venture that they probably are. Anyways, Don gets mad that Norman had schooled him once again, and tries to get a run-up on him in tag.
No wonder Mom's proud of him. Norman! I'm challenging you to tag!
Only to literally be the first one to be caught by Norman. Now that's an L. And shortly after catching Don, he catches everyone else, and one of the kids even says,
That happens when Norman's it.
which suggests that he is pretty good athletically. Although Norman had caught the rest of the children, Emma is still yet to be caught. Until...
Norman!
Just pretending.
What? You had me worried about you.
Damn, that was kind of dirty, Norman. Those were some villain tactics. As Norman points out, this does show a flaw of Emma, that sometimes her kindness can be taken advantage of.
Emma, your weakness is that you're too nice.
However, calling that a weakness, although kind of accurate, does seem a little bit harsh. Ray also explains to Emma that if it's just pure athletic prowess, she has Norman beat, as we see with this gap that Emma can clear but Norman cannot. However, where Norman comes out on top is having a better strategy. Yes, Emma is physically faster and can do more things, but Norman is there accounting for that and planning his actions accordingly. This skill that Norman has will come in handy for future episodes. One thing that's also important to bring up is Norman claims that he's not as good at strategizing as their mother, and no one has ever beat her at chess.
But still, he can't compare to Mom's ability to read a situation.
That's true. Come to think of it, none of us have ever been able to beat her at chess, huh?
We know how smart Norman is, like he must have genius levels of IQ. So does this mean that Mother is of a similar or even higher intelligence levels than Norman? But this line isn't even the manga, so maybe it's not even canon, like I don't know. Moving on, after the rematch that Don requested, Emma finds Norman near the fence and they have more or less the same conversation they had when they were younger visiting the gate.
Never go near the gate or fence.
Yeah, Mom always tells us that, because going near there can be very dangerous. She says that, but it's not even true.
Ray has always been shown to be the special one, implying that he might know something more than he's letting on, or at least have a reason to be less trusting of the orphanage than anyone else. The music is always very cheery and happy throughout the entire episode. The only time where music has changed to suspenseful, pensive music is always when they're near the gate, fence, or something to do with the numbers on the necks. The anime is screaming that something is not quite right with the situation the kids are in, but for now it's left to our imaginations to guess what that is. The rest of the kids caught up and found Emma, Norman and Ray talking. Here it's revealed that all the orphans will leave the orphanage by the time that they're 12.
We'll have to leave here, won't we?
This is an orphanage. Of course we'll leave one day. By the time we turn 12.
Which, if you think about it, doesn't really make sense, because if this is an orphanage and people are just leaving because they're adopted, why is it guaranteed that someone will be adopted when they're 12? In fact, wouldn't it be less likely since, they're older? Gouda brings up a great point that although so many children have found their foster families, not even one of them sending back a letter. Like, there must be at least 5 or 6 children leaving every single year, and not even one child sent back a letter to their old family to let them know how they were doing, and we saw how close they were at the beginning. She also brings up that if she were to go to the outside world, she would try out new clothes, since everyone has to wear the same uniform here. Uniform in an orphanage. If you don't suspect something's wrong now, then you're blind? Are you probably deaf as well? Like, how are you watching this video? How are you listening to me right now? After recounting the things they want to do when they're on the outside world, they return back to the orphanage. I mean, to go to a new foster family. Obviously, the people that she's been living with her entire life get emotional about this, which is understandable. It's like never being able to see your sibling for a long time, if ever. And while Mom is walking Connie to the gate, she sings this tune. Mommy, what's that for? This will be elaborated on in a future video. Meanwhile, back at the orphanage, we see that, oh no, Connie has left her bunny toy thingy majiggy.
Connie! You left little bunny?
This is a big deal because up to this point, I'm pretty sure there's no scene where we've seen Connie without her little bunny. This toy was obviously very important to her. So Emma and Norman go to the fence to give the bunny back to Connie. You can see how when they go near the fence, everything goes quiet. Which is arguably more suspenseful than if we had suspenseful music playing. Everything seems very foreign to them. This is not like anything they've ever experienced. Emma curiously looks up at the pipe dripping water. Norman comments on how he's never seen a vehicle IRL before. This is uncharted territory for them, and it shows in the animation. As for what happens next, I'm just gonna have to let the scene play out. Yeah, she's very dead. I bet up until now you wondered how the fuck it says psychological thriller as the type of anime. But yeah, you can see the absolute horror in their faces. Before this point, anything that could be remotely uncomfortable has been hidden from them. Their entire lives have basically been a fairy tale. That juxtaposed with seeing their dead sister sitting in a van with a flower stem through her heart, someone who they watched grow up, it's just definitely a lot for them. Then they hear a voice approaching, so they consequently hide under a van in order to hide. When Emma looks with her little innocent eyes that before this has only seen sunshine and rainbows, and sees this. Yeah, understandable reaction, if I'm honest. And as if that wasn't enough, hearing this.
So delicious. Human flesh is definitely the tastiest.
Taking a break from Norman and Emma, I'd like to draw attention to a camera and animation style after this reveal. Before this, we had nothing but calm panning shots and warm colours. As soon as we get to this part, we get fast cuts of different things happening in the scene. It's almost as if the colour's draining out at points. Just look at this scene compared to this scene.
None of us have ever been able to beat her at chess, huh?
The loud stomping from the demons. The sudden and almost violent toss into the preservation chamber being the only vibrant thing in the scene.
Damn! I wish I could have just a fingertip.
The animators did a really good job of portraying the difference between the world seen from not only Norman and Emma's perspective, but also our perspective as the viewers. Also, side note, but it looks like Emma should have been spotted here.
Done, sir. Another 6-year-old. We've only been shipping out average ones lately. But we'll be harvesting some of the high-grade stock soon enough. Right, Isabella?
I'll try to go over this quickly since, you know, we are quite literally at the premise of the anime, but from this sheet it's something I didn't spot before my second rewatch. When they say that the kids have perfect test scores, they must mean mostly perfect, because the only kid with perfect test scores is Norman because he has an average of 300. Ray was close, but he got caught lacking on his second average and got 265. This one is Emma, followed by Gilda, Dawn, and finally Lanyon, or Lanny. I cannot be asked to try and find who the fuck this one is, but it doesn't really matter. Also, we now know Isabella's name, so I won't call her Mother anymore from now on in the series. I'll just refer to her by her name, Isabella. Isabella has a serious face, and we literally haven't seen her not smile this entire episode. So we could infer from this that Mum might just be putting an act on around the children. It's also entirely plausible that the children genuinely make her happy, especially here when she's smiling by herself when looking at Connie's drawing. Anyways, they managed to escape, and can I just commend Norman and how quickly he was able to calm down and make the best move for the situation. He was even able to gain the composure to tell Emma to politely shut the fuck up when the demons were close to avoid being caught and shipped out immediately. But wait, these kids who have lived a very fairy tale, almost perfect life up until now, have just figured out that demons exist. Not only do they exist, they actively prey on humans. Their sister is not only dead, but going to be eaten by demons. Their mother, who they've loved and trusted their entire life, is in on it. And on top of that, they're the ones who are next.
These 3 with full marks are to be prepared for plucking.
I don't know about you, but I'll be freaking out a lot more than these two are. And oh no, look what they found. There is something I wanted to point out for a while, but I wanted to wait until it was the right time. This whole building is clearly modeled after a Victorian times English orphanage, from the building design to the interior. And we as the viewers are led to believe that this anime is probably set there, and this was intentional, as confirmed by the writer. But we were misled. When returning to the orphanage, I don't know how long I'm going to call it that, but they chose not to tell Ray about this yet, which honestly is fair enough. I wouldn't want to give him that knowledge either. And finally, they decide, fairly enough I must say, that they're going to run away from Gracefield and save all of their siblings.
Try not to worry. We'll flee, all of us.
Which, as will be pointed out in later episodes, this might be a little ambitious and naive to save everyone, but I admire their passion. But just as we think the episode is over... oh boy. Look at this look. I'm not sure if this is anger or surprise, it just looks evil. Isabella is now portrayed to be the antagonist. This is the second time we don't see her smile throughout the episode. And now that she's found the bunny, she knows at least one child knows the secret. And with that, that's the end of the episode. But before we end the video, let's quickly go through some manga differences. In the manga, the order of the events are slightly different, but there's no significant changes that I haven't already talked about. The scene we see at the beginning of Emma, Norman and Ray visiting the gate when they were little was moved to a flashback just before the tag game. Dawn challenges Norman to tag when they're already in the field as opposed to just after the exam results were announced. Instead of Norman being by the gate while the rematch is happening and everyone joins him, Emma just stumbles across the gate herself and ponders the same question. All of the other differences are basically minor script changes, like Ray saying I wouldn't say that instead of don't give me too much credit, which is honestly most likely a dub thing, so. But yeah, what do I know? I'm just a guy on night mode. I know all YouTubers tell you to do this, but the algorithm is tough, you know. If you enjoyed this video, just consider leaving a like and maybe sharing it with someone who might like it. If you want to stay tuned for the rest of the series, consider subscribing as well. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to Analysing Anime for not only inspiring me to do this whole series, but encouraging me and giving me pointers. He's honestly such a nice guy. His content is really good. Right now he's making a series on my all-time favorite anime, Death Note. Episode 1 is in the description if you fancy a bit of that, or you can just find him in my feature channels. Anyway, love ya, bye!